Good morning, guys. Here we are, the second day of muzzleloader season. I'm back up in this stand that I hunted yesterday evening, and I did not see any deer yesterday. There was just too much other activity going on, and they didn't come through here. But this morning, it's really turned off quite cold. Got a little bit of a wind picking up, but I'm thinking it's going to die down some, because that's just a front that moved through, brought this cold weather in behind it. Anyway, I got in here. I have not spooked any deer that I know of, and got in the stand good and quiet. The wind is coming this way, going back behind me here, so that's good, because I'm watching this valley right here in front of me. And also over across on this other ridge on the other side there. That's where that 8-point came from the other day that I harvested. Maybe our friends, those wild turkeys, will show up this morning. If they do, I'll try to get them on video. So y'all stay tuned. Well, folks, I decided to get down. Been in the stand for a couple of hours now. Saw that one buck that came through from that direction and went on over the ridge and across to the other side. This wind has really started picking up, and I just don't like hunting in the wind. I may get in the blind here after a while, but anyway, I'll check back with you. Well, good morning, my friends. It is currently 56 degrees, according to my phone. Feels a little cooler, actually. I think I spooked a deer a little bit coming in here, but I heard one blowing back that way. But other than that, I had one young deer come running through here. I haven't hunted this stand very much. I did harvest one deer out of this stand with a bow. But other than that, I hadn't hardly hunted it. So we'll sit back and see what happens here. There's a deer right there. Well, guys, I haven't seen any more deer, and this wind is really kicking up now. But earlier, when that buck came through, he was headed right towards the blind that I've got set up. And just in front of that blind, I've got a trail camera. And this morning, I actually had two bucks come right in front of that trail camera. One of them was the one we just saw. That blind is about 300 or 400 yards in that direction, and that buck walked right in front of it. Let's see, maybe I can give you the image here. The reason I know that, it sent it right to my phone. There's one buck at 7:30, as you can see. And then the next one, that's the one that came by this morning. I'll be posting all this in another video, hopefully. I'm waiting on a really big buck. I've got him on trail camera too. That joker's got a nice rack on him. Both of those are pretty much next year's deer. But the one that I got on trail camera, he's a good one. He's probably 140 class deer. something like that. Maybe even more. But he's been in front of that camera twice already. So I'm pretty sure he moves through here too. If somebody hadn't got him already, but I don't think so. I think he pretty much sticks around here. Anyway, I'll keep you posted. Well, good morning, friends. Today is November the 11th. It's about 6:15 in the morning. I just got up here a while ago. As soon as I got in my stand, I had a little buck come right under the stand here, and he went back that way. It's 24 degrees, hardly any wind. What little wind I'm feeling is going in that direction, so I think I'm good this morning. Sun's not up yet, but it's starting to get light. These bucks are cruising around here. Yesterday morning, I had a nice 8-point walk in front of the stand. Got that on trail camera, but I wasn't in front of my blind. Actually, it was in front of my blind, but that path leads right through here. Maybe he'll come along again this morning, who knows. I'm not sure if that's the one I saw the other day after I got down out of the stand, but he's a nice one. Anyway, I want to sit here, get settled in, put my gloves on. Pretty chilly this morning. See what comes along here. guys, that proves it right there. I put out that mock scrape this morning just before I got in my stand here, and I was getting ready to get down, but I saw this deer coming through from my right here, and the wind is actually going in that direction. But it must be swirling down here a little bit, because as that buck was walking that way, I thought he'd move on that down there, but he stopped right there, and he turned and came right up here, and you saw it. He got right in that mock scrape right there. So, you know, he smelled something that piqued his curiosity, and he came right in here to it. I mean, within 5 yards of my stand here. And that could have easily been a big buck, you know, but that little guy there, he moved on off. We'll let him leave before we get down. I don't want to spook him. Okay. That's scent we got. Mock scrape. There's another scrape right there. Good morning, folks. Here we are on a chilly November morning. It's November the 29th. It's about 30 degrees or so, and just got in the blind. It's just starting to break day. That shooting you're hearing is duck hunters. They're really making a racket this morning. I guess they're having a good day. But anyway, I have not gotten any pictures on my trail camera here overnight, so I'm hoping that these deer will move this morning. I put out a mock scrape about 30 yards ahead of me here. I don't know. I think the second phase of the rut is in, so I can't really figure these deer out much. Yesterday evening I had a doe come in here right next to me. Big doe. I could have taken her, but she spooked off because she caught a little movement when I opened that window right there. Anyway, like I say, you know, we're still watching this saddle right here, and these deer move across that saddle ahead of us. There's a draw on each side, and they come out of this draw and they cross right here, and a lot of times they linger and stay right up here on top. That's the reason I'm set up here, to catch them coming out of these draws. I saw a nice buck yesterday through the timber chasing a doe. He chased her back that way, and then she turned around and came back. I thought they were going to come up here for a minute, but they didn't. But either way, we'll sit here and be still. It's a real calm morning, very little wind, and chilly, but it looks like the sun's coming up here. I thought it was going to be real cloudy, but apparently we're going to have a nice day. Stay tuned. Well, my friends, those deer came in from the right side here. I could hear them coming. I looked up and I could see them coming right through here, and they were started to head off in that holler down there. But I put a mock scrape right up here in front of the blind, and they turned and went right to it, and they milled around there for a pretty good while, and then they fed on off straight away. I was hoping there would be a buck with them, but I didn't see anything. What that was a big matriarch doe with a family group of fawns and previous year fawns. And that's the way I believe these family groups of does get formed, is you'll have a big doe like that one that came in, and she'll have 1 or 2 fawns. And then as the years go by, those fawns follow her around. And sometimes they'll have 3, as was the case with this doe here. She had 3 fawns from this past spring or early summer, and a few other deer following her. And those were fawns from previous years. And quite often later in the season, after the initial rut, those previous year fawns, they'll come into heat, and sometimes you'll see a good buck following those particular deer, because they're no longer really fawns. They're grown deer. They're just younger than that matriarch doe. Well, anyway, I'm going to stay longer because obviously the deer are on their feet. These moved through about an hour ago, and the sun has gone behind the clouds there. Those duck hunters are still hammering away down there. But, the trick to staying in your blind or in your stand on these cold days is to keep warm. And one thing that I found that really has helped me, and I think it'll help you, are these hand warmers by Ozark Trail. Now, I'm not sponsored by these, so I'm not really advertising. I'm just sharing with you something that works for me. And if it works for me, then I don't mind giving you a little bit of advice. I picked these up at Walmart for about $10. And over on the side here is where you turn them on or off. And you have 3 different settings: low, medium, and high, as you can see. And they really will warm you up. I'll tell you what, I bring 2 of them most of the time, 1 for each hand. I just put them in my pockets. And it keeps my hands warm, keeps my body warm, because this heat kind of radiates outwards, And they've got other features. Now, you recharge them right here. They have a rechargeable place right here where you plug them in. Comes with a charger. And also, they've got a flashlight here, as you can see. So if you're a hunter, these are really nice because they fit in your pocket real well. There's no sharp edges. And just like these Ozark Trail knives that I featured on my channel, this is the OD green one. Most of them are orange. But I picked up a black one and an OD green one just to have something a little different and something new that they made. But these are great little knives, and they have products that work. I mean, they're fairly inexpensive, but if it works and you don't have to lay out a bunch of money, then I don't mind sharing what I've found to be useful with my viewers. Anyway, we're going to stay here about another hour or so. Yesterday I saw a really nice buck down there. I think it's that one that I've been watching. He was chasing a doe right down here. I could see the left side of his rack. Nice buck. And as far as I know, he's still around. So Let's keep watching. Well, good morning, my friends. I'm back up here in my white oak stand. This is the beginning of December, and it's pretty cold. It's around 31 degrees this morning. And I've been watching a family group of does that have been moving through here and been hanging around in this area here, still feeding on a lot of the white oak acorns that are left over on the ground. And they're starting to feed on some red oaks as well. But I've been getting some images of some really nice bucks. You know, there's one big 10-pointer that's been cruising through here, mostly at night. But I've got a few daytime photos too. And then there's a beautiful 9-pointer with nice long tines that has come through here. And in fact, he came right here by this stand just last week. And then there's a big heavy 8-pointer that I've got images of all around this stand here. And the last time I saw an image of him, he was going down the ridge here. And there's a lot of little bucks still running around here. I mean, I've seen them almost on a daily basis. But I'm hoping that this being the beginning of December, that the secondary rut may bring some does by here, and one of them might be an estrus, you know, and who knows, one of those nice bucks might be following one of those does. So I got up here this morning early. It wasn't even daylight yet, and I've been sitting here for about an hour, and the wind is going directly in over my head and towards that other ridge over there. But I've been watching right through here and right in front of me, and I haven't seen a single deer yet. But you know, this time of year you just never know. You could be sitting here for an hour, 2 hours, not see anything, and then all of a sudden they come running in on you. But that's just the way it goes. So I know for a fact that when I came in here this morning, I didn't spook anything off. I didn't see any deer or hear any deer running off. I didn't hear any blowing. I didn't see any white flags. So I think I'm good this morning. And today, I thought I'd bring out my little 30-30. I thought it'd be perfect for this setting right here. I can pretty well cover the whole area around here, and I'm using these Remington 150 grain core lock rounds, and I think they'd be pretty effective. But we'll keep a watch and see if anything at all comes in. With any luck, you know, one of those nice bucks might show up, and hopefully we can get a shot at one. So stay tuned. was running from. She came right under my stand here. Right there. She came through here, went back. And I think it's the same deer. She come running right back up here. She had her tail up, you know, so she's running from something. I think that's a fawn from that family group that's been hanging around here. Where the others are, I don't know. They may be with a buck right now. We'll sit here a few minutes longer, see if anything is on her back trail. There's another one behind him. That's a pretty good buck right there. Yeah, buddy. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and trail that deer. I think I made a good shot. It looks like he went down right down there in that gully. See some white right there. Yep, there he is. You can see there where he fell over and stumbled and came down. Pretty decent little buck. It's a 9-point. That's not too bad, folks. Well, guys, the old Marlin 30-30 spoke again this morning. And I was using these Remington Core-Lock 150 grain bullets, and I'll tell you what, harvested this deer very cleanly. That deer was standing perfectly broadside to me. I waited until I had a good shot opportunity, and that's when I took the shot, and it hit exactly, I mean precisely, where those crosshairs were centered. Here's a close look at this deer. Get him up here in the camera for you. He's got 4 on the left side and 5 on the right. Just a nice typical 9-point deer. Good body on him, great big deer. And this being the beginning of December, I could see from watching the other deer around here that the secondary rut was definitely happening right now. You know, a lot of folks say, well, there is no such thing as a second rut, but I'm here to tell you that a lot of the does that don't get bred, especially the younger does that don't get bred during the primary rut, come into estrus again at the beginning of December, the end of November, beginning of December. And these bucks are naturally going to breed. You know, they smell a doe that's in estrus, they're going to follow that doe. And what happened this morning is that little fawn doe came through, and she was running with her tail up. She was running from something, I don't know what it was, but she came from straight ahead of me. I got that on camera. And then she made a circle, a loop around, and came back, and I saw her running from behind me and came right up to the stand. I mean, right under the stand. And then she looped back around, and then I looked down and I could see another deer, which was a mature doe, or a bigger doe. I'm not sure if it was a mature doe. I would say it was probably a yearling, a 1.5 year old doe, was coming through, and she was feeding on acorns. And then I saw some movement behind her, and there was a smaller buck, and then I saw this buck. Well, naturally, they were on her tail, you know, they were following her. And when he stepped out, I knew that he was a shooter buck. That other one was a 6-point that I've got pictures of and I've seen several times in the past. Anyway, folks, there's several smaller bucks running around here, and I always pass those up because, you know, you got to let them grow to become deer that are shooter deer, in my opinion. You know, if the rack doesn't at least come out even with the ears, the outside of the ears, he's not a shooter buck, in my opinion. But anyway, I'll tell you what, those core-lock bullets really did a good job, and they always have in the past. If you make a good shot, do your part. You know, it doesn't really matter so much on the caliber, but the construction of the bullet really does play into effect as far as the effectiveness on big game. And that deer ran 50, maybe 60 yards, and then I saw him go down into a gully, and he tried to go up the other side, and then he collapsed and rolled back. I saw him go down. I don't know if that's on camera or not, but didn't really have to track that deer. I knew where he was laying. And, you know, that's a testimony to how well those core-lock bullets will perform. Well, my friends, here we are, the final few days of the Tennessee deer season. And, you know, it's been a good one. I have to say, I've harvested a couple of nice bucks, one with a bow and the other one with a rifle, as you just saw. And I got that deer on trail cam video. It's a nighttime video, but got a really good look at that deer. And I saw him a couple of times before, but then there are also a couple of other bucks that I've been observing here in the area. One big 8-point, and then a smaller 8-point, and also a nice 10-pointer. I saw him just a few times on trail camera here. I got a video footage of him. And then that big 8-point, I actually passed on that deer during the muzzleloader season early one morning, and I couldn't really zoom in on that deer because I had my hands on my gun. I was debating on shooting that deer, but decided to go ahead and just let him go. But either way, here's that trail cam video of that 9-pointer that I took. Well, guys, that's definitely that 9-pointer that I harvested, that I got on my trail camera. And although it was nighttime footage, you got a good look at him. And got a better look at him, of course, after I harvested him. And I was absolutely delighted to be able to harvest that deer. You know, take a deer like that is what we all look forward to. And he field dressed right at 175 pounds, just a good mature buck, and I was really happy to get him. Now, like I said, you know, there's a few others running around here, but of course I can't take any more because I'm limited out on bucks this year. You're only allowed 2 here in Tennessee, but that doesn't mean I can't harvest a nice fat doe, and that's the reason I'm out here in my blind. I'm waiting on some does to move through here. So guys, with some luck, hopefully I'll be able to harvest a doe, you know, something that I can add some more venison to what I've got on hand in my freezer, because we all enjoy it. And like I mentioned before, I enjoy venison more than I do beef, actually. You know, with the price of beef nowadays, it only makes sense to come out here and try to harvest some venison. So guys, thanks a lot for coming along. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to sum this up as far as what I experienced during the muzzleloader season and the rifle season. That's the reason I put it all together, and wanted to share it with you. So remember, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, no matter what your outdoor pursuit happens to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. But also remember this: hit that like button, smash the bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this one will be coming your way. So until next time, y'all take good care of yourselves, get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. I'll be seeing you.